First Contact and Betrayal. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the UH Intrepid, Earth's most advanced battleship. Through the vast viewing port, she watched as the stars shifted slightly, the only visual indication that they were traveling at near-relativistic speeds. The Intrepid represented humanity's crowning achievement, a fusion-powered vessel with experimental quantum shielding and weaponry that could deliver precise strikes across vast distances. "Commander, we're approaching the outer boundary of the Kuiper Belt," announced Lieutenant Marcus Chen, his fingers dancing across the holographic navigation display. "All systems nominal." Elena nodded. "Maintain course. I want a full diagnostic on the quantum shields before we begin the deep space trials." The Intrepid had been commissioned to test humanity's latest defensive technologies far from Earth, where any potential failures wouldn't endanger civilian populations. As humanity expanded throughout the solar system, establishing colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan, the need for protection had grown. Piracy and resource conflicts had become all too common, prompting the United Earth government to invest heavily in defense. "Commander," called Dr. Amara Okafor, the ship's science officer. Her voice carried an unusual tremor. "I'm detecting an anomaly at coordinates 347 to 980 to 104. The readings are impossible." Elena moved swiftly to Amara's station. "Explain." "Something's appearing out of nowhere. The mass readings are fluctuating wildly, but the object is massive, at least 3 times our size." Before Elena could respond, the void before them shimmered. Space itself seemed to fold, revealing a colossal vessel that gleamed like polished obsidian. Its design defied conventional engineering. Organic curves and geometric precision merged in ways that human architects had never conceived. "Battle stations," Elena ordered calmly. "Shields at maximum. Weapons on standby." The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as crew members rushed to their positions. The tension was palpable, sweat beading on foreheads as they faced the unknown. "They're scanning us," reported Lieutenant Commander Hiroshi Tanaka, the tactical officer. "Our systems can barely detect it. It's like nothing I've ever seen." "Hold position," Elena commanded. "Let's see what they want." The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a being that seemed to shift between solid and liquid forms. Its skin shimmered with iridescent patterns, and multiple eyes, each a different color, studied the humans with obvious intelligence. "People of Earth," the being spoke in perfect English, its voice melodious yet unsettling. "I am Exalted Speaker Valxer of the Galactic Council. We have observed your species for some time. Your technological advancement has qualified you for consideration as probationary members of our interstellar community." Elena kept her expression neutral, despite the shock rippling through the bridge. "I am Commander Elena Reyes of the United Earth government vessel Intrepid. We were unaware of any galactic governing body. May I ask how long you've been watching us?" "Since your first radio transmissions escaped your atmosphere," Valxer replied. "We monitor all developing species. Those who reach a certain threshold of technological achievement are evaluated for membership. Your recent breakthroughs in quantum physics have accelerated our timetable." The next 72 hours were a whirlwind of diplomacy. The Intrepid escorted the Council vessel to Earth, where world leaders gathered for a historic summit. Elena and her senior officers were present as military representatives, watching as Valxer and 3 other alien dignitaries laid out their proposal. "The benefits of membership are substantial," Valxer explained to the assembled human leaders. "Access to medical knowledge that could extend your lifespans by centuries, clean energy solutions, limited faster-than-light travel privileges." Secretary General Adebayo of the United Earth government leaned forward. "And what does the Council require in return?" "Merely adherence to our regulations," Valxer replied smoothly. "All new members undergo a probationary period during which certain technological developments are restricted. Resource-sharing protocols will be implemented, and we will require access to your educational systems to ensure proper integration." Helena exchanged glances with Marcus across the chamber. Something in Valxer's tone triggered her instincts, the same instincts that had saved her during the Mars insurgency. Later, aboard the Intrepid docked at the International Orbital Platform, she called her senior officers to her ready room. "Did anyone else find the Council's terms concerning?" she asked. Hiroshi nodded grimly. The resource-sharing protocols seem suspiciously one-sided, and their interest in our education systems feels invasive. "I've been analyzing their vessel's emissions," Amara added. "There are energy signatures we can't explain, but more importantly, I've detected communications we weren't meant to intercept. They're encrypted, but given time." "Do it," Elena ordered. "If we're entering into an alliance with these beings, we should know exactly who we're dealing with." 3 days later, Amara burst into Elena's quarters, her face ashen. "Commander, you need to see this." She handed over a tablet displaying translated text. "We cracked their encryption algorithm. These are communications between Valxer and the Council leadership." Elena's blood ran cold as she read. The Galactic Council had classified Earth as a resource world, a planet whose inhabitants were considered intelligent enough to be useful labor, but not advanced enough for true membership. The probationary period was designed to prevent further technological development while the Council established control mechanisms. Humans would be relegated to mining operations and agricultural production, serving the Council's needs while being fed a narrative of advancement toward full membership that would never come. "They'd done this before," Amara whispered. "Dozens of civilizations, stripped of resources and autonomy." Elena's jaw tightened. "Gather the senior staff and contact Secretary General Adebayo. Secure channel only. The Council isn't getting what they came for." An emergency session of Earth's leadership reviewed the evidence. The decision was unanimous: rejection of the Council's offer and immediate preparation for potential hostile response. When Valxer received their decision, the alien's form rippled with what Elena recognized as barely contained rage. "This is unfortunate," Valxer said. "I will convey your decision to the Council. Perhaps reconsideration is possible after further deliberation." The Council ship departed Earth orbit the following day, vanishing in a cascading ripple of distorted space. For 2 weeks, humanity held its breath. Military forces throughout the solar system were placed on high alert. The Intrepid, along with other advanced vessels, patrolled the outer boundaries, watching for any sign of return. "They gave up too easily," Elena told her bridge crew as they completed another patrol circuit. "Something doesn't." "Multiple spatial distortions detected," Amara shouted. "Hundreds of them, surrounding the entire solar system." On the view screen, space tore open in hundreds of locations. Council warships emerged, sleek, predatory vessels that dwarfed even their diplomatic craft. Without warning or ultimatum, they opened fire on orbital installations around Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies. "Get us back to Earth. Maximum speed," Elena ordered, watching in horror as the defensive stations around their homeworld erupted in silent explosions. The Intrepid's engines strained as they raced toward Earth, but they were days away at their current velocity. All they could do was watch as their communication systems filled with desperate messages from home. Billions of lives in peril. A civilization fighting for survival against an enemy they couldn't hope to match. "Commander," Hiroshi called out, his voice filled with unexpected hope. "The Council ships haven't detected us." "What?" Elena moved to his station. "The experimental quantum shields. They're bending space-time around us in a way the Council's sensors can't penetrate. We're effectively invisible to them." Elena stared at the tactical display, watching as Earth's defenses crumbled under the relentless attack. A plan began to form, desperate, nearly hopeless, but a plan nonetheless. "Set course for the dark side of Titan," she ordered, "and prepare to receive survivors. The Intrepid isn't just a battleship anymore." She gazed at the distant image of Earth, partially obscured by the flashes of destructive energy. It's humanity's last hope. Resistance and triumph. 3 months after the Council's devastating attack, The UHS Intrepid hung silently in the shadow of Saturn, hidden from probing sensors. What had once been Earth's premier battleship now served as the heart of humanity's resistance, its corridors crowded with survivors and its systems modified beyond recognition. Commander Elena Reyes stood in the converted cargo bay that now served as their war room, surrounded by her senior officers and representatives from the surviving colonies. The holographic display in the center showed the grim reality. Earth under Council control, Mars a smoldering ruin, and the outer colonies fighting desperate holding actions as alien forces pushed ever outward. The quantum shield modifications are holding, Lieutenant Commander Hiroshi reported. We've successfully extended the effect to cover the refugee ships clustering around us. And the Council still has no idea we exist, Elena added, her voice tight with determination. That's our only advantage, and we need to leverage it. Dr. Amara Okafor stepped forward, dark circles under her eyes betraying the endless hours she'd spent studying captured Council technology. I think we've made a breakthrough. Council ships communicate through what they call resonance waves, essentially quantum entanglement on a massive scale. It's how they coordinate their fleets across vast distances. Can we intercept these communications? Elena asked. Amara nodded. Better than that. We can interfere with them, maybe even falsify them. Elena's eyes narrowed. That could change everything. Hiroshi, what's the status of our weapons integration? The hybrid systems are online, he replied. We've successfully merged our quantum weaponry with the Council's energy projection technology. Theoretical output is 3 times what either system could achieve independently. And we've replicated the technology across our surviving fleet, added Lieutenant Marcus Chen. 27 vessels, all armed with weapons the Council has never encountered. Elena studied the tactical display. It's time to test our new capabilities. The mining outpost at Ceres has been converted to a Council processing center. Minimal defenses, but a strategic location. If we can take it intact, we gain a foothold in the inner solar system, Marcus finished. The attack on Ceres became the Resistance's first victory. The Intrepid, leading a small strike force of modified human vessels, emerged from quantum stealth directly above the outpost. Council defenders barely had time to raise alarms before precisely targeted hybrid weapons disabled their systems. Boarding teams of human Marines, equipped with armor incorporating captured Council technology, secured the facility with minimal casualties on either side. More importantly, they captured intact Council communication systems and databases. This changes everything, Amara announced during the post-mission briefing. I've accessed their strategic databases. The Council isn't a monolith. It's a collection of species, many of whom have been subjugated just like they planned to subjugate us. And there are fractures in their alliance. Over the next 6 months, the human resistance grew bolder. Using their ability to remain undetected and armed with increasingly sophisticated hybrid technology, they struck at Council supply lines and communication hubs throughout the solar system. Each victory yielded more captured technology, more knowledge, and, crucially, more allies. The first defector was a Council engineer captured during a raid on a fuel processing station near Jupiter. Instead of hostility, the alien, a serpentine being called Silith, showed cautious cooperation. Your integration of technologies is unprecedented, Silith told Elena during their first meeting. My species was among the first the Council subjugated. We have served as their technical specialists for generations, but they restrict our innovations. What you've accomplished in months took my ancestors centuries. We need to understand their command structure, Elena replied. Who makes the decisions? Where are they vulnerable? Zilith's multifaceted eyes glimmered. The High Conclave, 7 species who first formed the Council millennia ago. They rule from the Nexus Station, a massive construction at the heart of Council space. But it is more than a headquarters. It is the central node of their resonance wave network. Without it, their forces cannot coordinate across interstellar distances. Elena leaned forward. And if this Nexus Station were to fail? Council forces would be isolated, forced to rely on conventional communications with significant delays. Their greatest advantage, perfect coordination across vast distances, would be lost. A plan began to form, audacious and desperate. Using the Intrepid's unique capabilities and their growing understanding of Council technology, they would strike at the heart of the enemy's power. But first, they needed to clear a path home. The liberation of Earth began 1 year after the initial invasion. The Resistance fleet, now numbering over 100 vessels of hybrid human Council design, emerged from quantum stealth in perfect synchronization around the planet. Alina had timed the attack to coincide with a massive solar flare, further confusing Council sensors. "Transmit the false orders," she commanded from the Intrepid's bridge. Using captured communication systems, they broadcast commands in perfect Council protocols, ordering the occupation fleet to reposition to counter a non-existent threat in the outer system. Half the Council vessels departed before the deception was discovered. The battle for Earth was brutal but swift. Council forces, confused by contradictory orders and facing weapons they couldn't counter, fell back in disarray. On the ground, resistance cells that had been fighting a guerrilla war for months rose up in coordinated attacks. Within 72 hours, Earth was free. But Alina knew it was only the beginning. "We've won a battle, not the war," she told the assembled leaders of the reformed Earth government. "As long as the Nexus Station exists, the Council can send reinforcements, rebuild their fleets, and return in greater numbers." Secretary-General Adebayo, who had led the ground resistance, nodded grimly. "Then we take the fight to them." "How?" Alina gestured to Silith, who now served as a trusted advisor. "We've modified the Intrepid's drive systems using Council technology. We can reach the Nexus Station in 17 days. And we've developed a weapon specifically designed to disrupt the resonance wave network." The mission was approved. The Intrepid, accompanied by 5 other advanced vessels, would make the perilous journey to Council space. Their target, not conquest, but freedom. Not destruction, but disruption. 17 days later, the small human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in the shadow of a massive gas giant in an unfamiliar star system. Before them loomed the Nexus Station, a structure so vast it dwarfed Earth's moon, its surface a bewildering array of docking bays, sensor arrays, and mysterious technologies. "Quantum shields at maximum," Alina ordered. "They haven't detected us yet. Move us into position." The human vessels glided silently toward the station, invisible to the hundreds of Council ships patrolling the area. When they reached their designated positions, Alina gave the final command: "Initiate resonance cascade." The weapon they had developed was elegant in its simplicity, using the Council's own technology against them. It created a feedback loop in the resonance wave network, amplifying signals until they overwhelmed the system. It didn't destroy the Nexus, it simply rendered it useless. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Council ships, suddenly cut off from Central Command, began moving erratically. Communication systems across the massive station failed. Emergency protocols activated, but without coordination, they created more chaos than order. Phase 2, Alina commanded. Broadcast the message. On every functional communication system throughout Council space, a single message began playing. Transmitted in every language known to the Council, it showed the liberation of Earth, the hybrid technologies humans had developed, and an offer: freedom for all subjugated species who rejected Council rule. The rebellion spread like wildfire. Species that had chafed under Council dominance for centuries saw an opportunity for liberation. Council military forces, unable to coordinate effectively, found themselves fighting on multiple fronts against former subjects armed with human hybrid technology. 6 months later, Alina stood once again on the bridge of the Intrepid, watching as representatives from 27 formerly subjugated species signed the Accord of Free Worlds. Where the Council had demanded subservience, this new alliance promised cooperation. Where the Council had restricted technology, the Accord encouraged innovation and sharing. "This isn't the end," Secretary General Adebayo said, standing beside her. The remnants of the council are still out there, regrouping. We'll face them again. Elena nodded, watching as human and alien representatives mingled freely on the observation deck below. But next time, we won't face them alone. And we'll be ready. The stars beyond the viewing port seemed brighter somehow, full of possibility rather than threat. Humanity had nearly been destroyed, but instead emerged stronger, wiser, and at the forefront of a new interstellar community. Not as conquerors, but as liberators. Not as subjects, but as equals. The Intrepid, once Earth's last hope, had become the galaxy's first promise.